How's it going, rednecks? I'm out here in the garage getting ready to work on Disaster Transport, and for those of you that have been following, you know I've been trying to convert this transfer case from push button to floor shift. And in this episode, we're going to finish that by installing the floor shift. The transfer case is already installed, and I guess the first step to installing this would be to mark out where the shifter has to go. There is a raised portion right here where the shifter is going to go, and what I did is I took this plate that bolts to the back side of the shifter, I laid it on there, traced it out. Now I'm going to take my grinder and cut that out. Well, there we go. It may have taken a few tries. Yeah, 5. But as you can see, I finally have it sitting in place. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out my holes here. There's 4 of them. And then I'm going to install Rivnuts. And before I do that, I want to take a file and file all these sharp edges down. And when you're doing this, make sure you're careful, because those right there are your fuel lines. Well, there we go. With the shifter installed, we can move on to the next job. And that's going to be installing the shift linkage. This right here is going to bolt onto the transfer case, and it's slotted right here so it can only go on one way. Then we're going to install part of the linkage on one side, and the other end is going to go on our shifter itself. So what I'm going to end up doing is putting this all the way forward, and then I'm going to take my linkage, put it all in, put this into the corresponding spot with that, which I believe I have it in 4 low right now. So I will put the transfer case in 4 low, put this on, pop that on, and then I'm going to set my linkage, because it's not going to be in the same location, because obviously this can move forward and backwards. Your whole engine assembly can actually move forward and backwards. So GM actually made this so you can adjust it by slotting this back and forth. So once I have these both in the same spot, this should automatically line up, and then I'm going to take and tighten this down, and as you can see, these are notched together, and that's what holds it in place. So let's install this, get this installed, and get it adjusted. Well, I know the angle for that wasn't ideal, but we have the shifter linkage hooked up and we have it adjusted in place. And the last thing we need to do is hook up the wiring. The speed sensor off the old transfer case actually works, and I have tested it. My speedometer works and everything. But we still need to install this. The old transfer case had a 2-prong plug-in to tell it whether it was in 4-wheel drive high or 4-wheel drive low. And why that is important is because the transmission will not shift in auto if you're in 4 low. It'll think it's in 4 high, which means it's looking for the wheel speed to pick up to a certain amount before it shifts. So it will never shift out of first. With having the reprogramming kit in my transmission, I can manually shift that transmission still. I'm assuring you of that. But I still want it to work in auto, so I need to figure out how to wire in this 3-prong connector. One of them is going to be ground, one of them is going to be grounding for the front if you had 4-wheel drive, and the other one's going to be grounding for the computer so it knows it's in 4 low. So let me get a wiring diagram and I will get back to you on this. Obviously, it's going to have to be another night. It's 11 o'clock at night right now, so next and last, we will be doing that. So see you guys when I get a wiring diagram. Well, Rednecks, it's the next day, and I want to continue working on this shifter, and we're at the electrical part of this, and I gotta say, I hit a little bit of a dilemma, two to be exact. Right now, I am trying to get the 3-wire sensor for 4-wheel drive to work, and let's go over here. If you take a look, I am in 4 low. And both of these should have resistance to them. I found out that when I go from 4 low to 4 high, this one stays connected. When I go to 4 low, this one's supposed to connect, and it doesn't. And I have a feeling the sensor's bad, because I tried variations of changing them out. I thought maybe the meter was bad. I tried a different one, and that didn't work. And I guess ultimately, it doesn't matter, because there's supposed to be a gray and black wire down at the transfer case, and I cannot find it. So, with the wiring schematic shown on the screen, what I did is I came to my computer port right here, and on the red one, pin 16, we are looking at this guy right here. And this is the wire for 4-wheel drive low, and it needs to get grounded. So, I'm going to take the coward's way out, and I'm going to take this right here, a little rocker switch, and I'm going to mount it right there on the housing for the shifter, and then I'm just going to run from ground to the switch, and from the switch to this gray wire. And it's going to be easy for me because my computer's right there. Normally, that would be located all the way down here in the fender, so... Well, unfortunately, this isn't going to be a whole lot of help for you guys trying to do it right, but for me, all I'm looking for is 4-wheel drive low to work, so sorry. Hopefully you guys can get help from just the schematic alone, or maybe in another video, but what do you say we get that cover off, we drill a hole for our switch, and then we wire this thing in. Well, there we go. We got the shifter in. It's all adjusted. It's hooked up from the linkage here to the transfer case. We got the switch in for 4 low, so the computer will know what speed to shift the transmission at. And for those of you that watched the transfer case video, I didn't weigh the transfer case with this on it because I figured this is equivalent to that, and these two are just going to cancel each other out in weight. So there's no weight change or difference with adding this, because this weighs just about as much as all that. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and get back to work.